the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
Today's Daily Encouragement by William the Encourager, sponsored by Ted Russell Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty on Kingston Pike.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It's Thursday, and I don't have to tell you, you know the drill. Come on, let's pray. Lord, once again, we come before you, thanking you for your many kind and rich blessings, Lord. Thanking you for waking us up this morning, Lord, with everything that we need to go into this day and to succeed. So we praise you, and we give you glory, honor, and praise today. For it is in Jesus' holy name that we pray. Remember, we are still talking about Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Be encouraged this morning, my brothers and sisters, because you can change your way of living. You can change your way of thinking. You can change your appearance. You can change the way you think. You can change the way you walk. You can change the way you talk. There's always room for change, and you can do it. See, the common denominator is what you think about. So what are you thinking about? Are you thinking good thoughts, or are you thinking wrong thoughts? That's the key right there. The truth is your thoughts are the steering wheel of your life. And if you knew just how powerful your thoughts are, you'd never think a negative thought again. Guard your thoughts. Expect great things. Work hard and show the world just how amazing you are. Because God has given you gifts, talents, skills, and abilities. God has given you 24 hours in a day. The rich man, the richest person in the world, has 24 hours in a day. The poorest person in the world has 24 hours a day. We all have the same amount of time, but we all do different things. Some of us sit in front of TV all day long, and we get all of that stuff inside us. And when we go outside to talk to someone, we regurgitate all that stuff that we saw on TV. People know the batting average of baseball players. They know the shooting percentage of basketball players. They know the running yards of football players. But most of them can't repeat the Lord's Prayer. Most of them think negative. But when you change your thoughts, you change your life. Remember, the truth is your thoughts are the steering wheel of your life. Let's just nest on that just for a minute. Your thoughts are the steering wheel. You're either going to go straight to negativity, or you're going to go right to positivity, or you're going to go left to doubtfulness. You are steering. No one else is driving your mind. No one else can drive. You know, it's like you've got a Rolls Royce sitting in the garage. And do you just let anyone drive it? You've got a Lamborghini sitting in the garage. Do you just let anyone drive it? You got a Lamborghini, you got a Mercedes, you got, I don't know a whole lot about cars. There are some very, very expensive cars out there. But do you give your child the key and say, now go drive? God has something special for you. But if he gave it to you too soon, you would hurt yourself. That's why you have to stop and think and grow up. Because when you start driving, you are responsible. You're responsible if you hurt someone. You're responsible for everything that needs to be done. You're responsible. So remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Jordan Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday. That means it's David West, Stars and Stories of the Kaz Walker Show. We're starting off the program this morning with our good buddy, East Tennessee's favorite, Con Hunley's on the phone with me. Morning, Con. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, Ron. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We miss you here, but I know, man, with all these allergies and everything going around, it's crazy. How are you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I am susceptible to a lot of the stuff that goes on when the spring, when all the things start budding and breaking out. I'm a little susceptible to that, especially if you have to sing. So I kind of try to stay in and stay out of it as much as I can.
I don't blame you. Let's talk a little bit about the show coming up. We're talking about the Union County Opry, aren't we?
Yes, sir. That's this Saturday night. Looking forward to it. This will be our fourth year at the Union County Opry. We always love going there. And, of course, I have a soft spot in my heart for Union County. My folks are all from up in there, Sharps Chapel and over Pinhook Holler.
Yes.
And Luttrell and Maynardville. So it's great to kind of go back where everything kind of began for me. And we're looking forward to it. We always have a great enthusiastic crowd, and we always have a lot of fun. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
We were talking to the boys up there the other day. They said their ticket sales are right on track, but they've still got some open, and folks want to grab them up before it sells out. I know that we put a full crowd in there the last 3 years, so we're hoping we can do that again this year. So folks can go online at UnionCountyOpry.com and get their tickets, or you can call us here at the Radio Ranch. We can tell you how you can get them, but they've still got a few available, don't they?
Yeah. I talked to Danny the other day. He said they're going pretty quick. So I would love to have anybody and everybody who wants to come on out, because we're going to have a lot of fun. I got my nephew, Stephen Hunley, is opening the show. The show starts at 7, and he's a great writer. He's been in Nashville for the last several years writing songs and getting quite a few cuts. So it's going to be a real thrill for me to have him there to open the show. He's really good.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be real fun. And I hope that we get that place sold completely out and you have another barn burner of a time down there. Anything special that's going to happen this time folks can look forward to?
Well, we're going to be doing a few songs, different kinds of songs. Some of the songs, in fact, I'm going back to my old Prairie Dust days. There's a song I cut on Prairie Dust Records back in I don't know if I want to say it or
just back in the day.
75, called I'll Always Remember That Song. And we're going to be changing it up a little bit this year and having a few more songs that we haven't done in a while. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, buddy, I hope that you have a fantastic time. By the way, congratulations on induction into the North American Country Music Association Hall of Fame. That's got to be pretty cool, getting to go into Hall of Fame.
It really is, Ron. It's I was kind of floored by it all. I guess the guy who's the president of the North American Country Music Association, his name's Brian Orr. He called and told me that I had been selected to be inducted into the North American Country Music Hall of Fame, and I was just blown away by it. And so the induction ceremony is going to be on the 28th at Country Tonight Theater, and there's 6 other people going to be inducted. And of course, I'm only going to do, I think everybody does 3 songs or something like that. But yeah, I'm really happy and proud about that. You know, I've been doing this for a long time.
Yep.
I got my first gig in 1964. I think I was 7 or 8, maybe. So,
yes, sir.
But no, I've been at it a long time. I've given country music, con music my entire life. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm proud of being inducted, and look forward to seeing everybody up there on the 28th.
So folks can...
First and foremost, we got this show at Union County Opry, and we're looking to having a really good time. We got people coming in from everywhere. I got people coming in from Dallas. In fact, the lady hit Facebook the other day and said, we bought our plane tickets. We're flying in especially to hear you all the way from Dallas, Texas. So we're going to have a good time.
That's going to be fantastic. Everybody can go to the Union County Opry and see North American Country Music Association Hall of Fame member Con Hunley perform live at the Union County Opry. Tickets are still on sale for that. And again, congratulations. You know we love you. We appreciate all you help us with here at the Radio Ranch, and we love keeping the music alive.
Well, I appreciate it, Ron. You guys have been great to me. And I appreciate you keeping con music alive.
Anytime. And, you know, Brian, I was talking to Brian the other day. I think Ken Mellons is getting inducted with you, too. Jukebox Junkie, and he's written a bunch of songs, too, over the years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time.
Con, have a fantastic day. Come by and see us when you can. Enjoy the concert. I hope we get to see you one of these shows here this next couple of weeks, all right?
Well, I hope you can make it. I'd love to see you, and thanks for everything, Ron. Love you, man.
You too, buddy. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Always good to have Con on the radio with us, and that's pretty big doings to go into the Hall of Fame, you know.
Yeah.
So he's going into the Hall of Fame week after next. So
I'd love to hear him do that Bill Anderson song.
Still.
And he knocks it out.
Oh, Lord, still he does. No relief inside.
Yeah.
There's not a bad Con Hunley song, and sometimes I think he does better when he just sits with a piano and sings it than he does all produced. But
I like that No Relief Inside.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my favorites, too. It's,
I liked it when him Porter done Satisfied Mind, too. But
oh, yeah.
He said it didn't go over it for him, so he wasn't excited about it. But I loved it.
Oh, it was good. It was a great version of it.
Oh, I thought it was the best that ever been done.
Yeah. I just Con just bring, I don't know how you describe him. I think he described it once pretty well. You know, he was kind of like Chris Stapleton before Chris Stapleton came along.
Yeah.
He was kind of before his time because he had that bluesy growl kind of sound. He still does. Not had, he has. And, you know, for a while, country music kind of fought with him over it. They wanted him to sound more like George and, you know, less like Ray Charles. but he just sounds like Con. And now today, I told him when he was here, I'll keep telling him, he needs to get and do a duet with Chris Stapleton. That would be a hit, big hit. Yeah. Those two guys picking together. But we can let you know where tickets are and when tickets are if you need tickets or information about either of the shows. It's Union County Opry coming up Saturday night. Grab your tickets, and then Con will be inducted into the Hall of Fame the following week. So get your tickets, and if you got questions, call us up here, and we'll get you all situated. I don't know if we've got tickets to give away for the show or not. We probably do, and we're probably giving them away over on Merle. Oh. Nashville must be calling, huh, Howard? Yeah. David's talking on the phone.
Looking at Ron. I'm sitting here looking at Ron.
Is that Sammy? Oh, okay. We'll wait. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take a commercial break here. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey folks, Jay Carter here, inviting you to join me every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. for the Saturday Morning Classics. I play those classic country songs that radio has long forgotten about, songs from the 1940s all the way to the early 90s, and I take requests. So stick around for the Saturday's trading time starting at 9 a.m., and then during the 10 o'clock hour, it's Shylock's Bluegrass Picks, an hour of bluegrass music sponsored by Shylock's Pawn Shop. That's every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on WYSH.
There we go. That's Brother Con calling you.
Yeah.
There we go.
He called me, said, "Want to talk to me?" And I said, "Well, call me right after we get off here."
So what's been going on this week, fellers? What have we missed?
I don't know. How'd you?
Well, that's Howard's back on the job now.
Yeah. 3 weeks in a row.
Back on the job.
3 weeks in a row. Howard, you back on payroll. We got Michael here. He drives us around, and he's an antique car expert.
Yes, he is.
He's a guy that if he can't find the part, he just makes it. You know, I get up sometimes this morning, go back and check my life, and I think of funny things that happened down through the years. And I was thinking about one of the first businesses I got into. Around 1960, my mom and daddy, early, they wanted a TV, you know. It's hard. A lot of people didn't have TVs. We went to the neighbor's house and watched them in the 58, you know, 1960s. And he was up in there just a little bit. I done started playing music. And so I heard about this TV shop over in Powell. Bob Raby, he was a great fiddle player, worked for Jerry Moore. And in fact, he worked a little bit on Bonnie and Buster with me. And then later, when we got acquainted, but he had TVs. So I go over and tell him I want a TV. He had them for $20, $25, $35.
Back in the day, that's pretty cheap for a TV.
Yeah.
That's real cheap for a
I mean,
TV.
he had 'em, but here's the catch to it.
Well, there's a catch. Okay.
It didn't take me long to catch on. What he'd do, he went up Sevierville, and they had a TV store up there like I've never saw. It looked like a supermarket of TV. And they took them in. They run their, see, back then you didn't have no set price. They run them up, and they gave you $25 or $50 trade-in. On your, they don't care. They don't even hook it up. They don't care if it plays or don't play. Bring your TV in. We'll give you $25 trade-in or $50 trade-in.
Which, during the time, that's a pretty good chunk of money.
Oh, yeah. They sold them to him for $2 and $3 a piece. He had this big old truck. I didn't know it right that time. We got to come up to that.
It took you a minute to figure that one out.
Anyhow, he had this big truck, and he was buying them. I didn't know then what he was doing. But so they introduced me to him, and the mandolin player did. Said he's a fiddle player, and he's real good, and he was. And I won't go and turn him on TV. Well, he sold me one of them tabletops, you know, that old timey, about a 17-inch or something. I took it home. It played pretty good for about 3 weeks, and it went out. So I took it back to him to get it fixed. He said, "I don't worry about it. Pick you out another one there. Give me $10 a boot." He said, "Just pick you out one of them better ones there. Just give me $10 more." Well, I gave him $10 more. Well, that and played about 3 or 4 weeks, and every 3 or 4 weeks, it was $10 more. And I started figuring out, well, I'm only have $100 in this thing. So me and him become good friends. Well, in the process of all this, he moved right below me into farm straight across where it goes up Green Drive. That big old house on great big garden. He moved his TV shop down there, and but then we was acquainted, and he saw I was a good salesman. He said, "Would you go in TV business with me?" And I said, "Well, I guess."
Maybe.
You know, he said, we said that. Now, you realize we didn't have no building over, but the one that Daddy built, that little, with the barrels that opened up front, that's all we had them too. But in Daddy's building there, we didn't have, much in there to sell. So he said, "We'll buy them TVs up there in Sevierville." Said he didn't like to drive them trucks stuff. He wanted me to drive. I was young, and we went up there and we loaded them things up from up over the cab. I mean, we just load them to it. I was all eyes. He's paying $2 and $3 a piece for a big nice TV. He didn't know whether it played or not either. So we loaded them up. We're coming down Chapman Highway, and one of them fell off. Right out the highway, and I looked in the mirror. That thing must have went into 100 pieces. He said, don't stop, let her roll.
Let her go.
But he said that, I saw he just had $2 and $3 a piece in him. Well, we got home. He had a big old, it looked like a hypodermic needle, but it's a big long thing like this. And he was giving them picture tube shots. And he said they'd get rust on them. He'd pick on them, and he'd shoot this stuff up in there. Boy, they'd get pretty and bright. Like
Really?
3 weeks. So he, some of them were pretty good, and some of them wasn't. But he said, now, don't worry about the ones that they bring back. He said, we set about 25 in the store. Of course, we couldn't set all of them in there, but he got 25 of them working good, and we set them in the store. And these people come in and buy one. He said, now, here's the way it works. I'm going to pay for the TVs and fix them. And you sell them up there, and we'll have profit. We'll just have the money, just straight across the block, because you got to have something for your rent and stuff. So I've got $2 or $3 in them, plus working on them. Of course, he just let dickle with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he did, I told him, I said, this man's TV's quit. He said, just give him nothing, charge him $10, anything he wants. And so that's where I learned how to do that. Just get you another, had him a boot.
Take you another.
Well, he was making $7 to $8 every time he was trading another. He said, just bring them on back when they're bad, and I'll shoot them again. He said, and I was in TV business for a pretty good while, I mean, it's sad how they do things in life.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, though, I was a fast learner. I watched every move. I was real quiet back in. I just sit and take everything everybody had to say. Take it all in. Oh, man. I got to tell you one more that happened to me when I was a kid. I hadn't started school. I was between 4 and 5. And they had a store right above us up there in the service station and a grocery store, back supermarket. And they had a deli in it, boy. You get that good ice cream. So that back road was closed at that time. And they let us kids walk up the store, and they had a bridge you go across and get in. Well, they had this great big old block thing, and it had minnows in it. You must have thousands of them in there, because they sold fishing supplies. And when it did, I hadn't started school, so I'd have been 4 or 5. But it was in the summertime, and we had a lot of people come to see us, and they give us some change, go up there and get us ice creams and stuff. Well, when we come out, we was standing there looking at all them goldfish, and I thought, boy, I'd like to have some of them. The other kids was in there with their hands playing with them, get them, so I just got me 3. Well, I carried them all the way home now. Of course, time we got home, was dead. And we had a ram. You didn't know what that is. That's where you pump water out of a spring, and it shoots it. It don't have electricity. It's got a cylinder. Mm-hmm. But that water hits that cylinder, and it'll shoot it 300 or 400 feet. And you can hear it from up there. I mean, it's just shooting there. And we had a big reservoir. That's where we got our water, our spring water. We had a big reservoir. You have to have a pipe in the top because it can't quit. The water has run out, which you don't use. And Mom would go out there and get some bucket of water. We'll fill that tub up. It's bath night, But anyhow, I run and got my fish. I took them into this little puddle of water where it run out. And of course, they died. I mean, they'd been dead when I took them in there. But back in, you mowed your yard with a whip-whack. You didn't have a lawnmower. That's went back for lawnmower days. And you had trails where you walked all the time in a path. Mm-hmm. And I threw them down the path, and my daddy come by and he saw them. And Daddy was a guy that handled everything so nice and easy, and he never did give me a whooping. He just always talked to me about it, sat me down and explained it to me. And that was probably sometimes worse than a whooping, but because he explained it very goodly. But anyhow, Daddy saw these goldfish here, and he said, where did these fish come from? And he said, up there at that tank. He said, who got them? He said, David got them over. I said, they died on the way home. And he called me over, and he said, David, did you buy these fish? And I said, no. He said, did the man give them to you? I said, no. He said, well, you can't do that. I said, that's called stealing. I said, you wouldn't want him to get in your toys, would you? And I said, no. He said, well, would you want him to get in your bank? And I said, no. He said, well, you go ahead and play and have a good time today. And he said, now, in the morning, we got to go up there and handle this, take care of it. So he has a $39 Dodge truck. I don't forget all this. And so he pulls up, and I didn't know who owned the place or nothing. He said, that's Vernon Beckner right over yonder. Said, he owned this right here. I said, or he's one of the owners. Said, you go over and tell him what you done, and take your bank. He made me get my bank. Take your bank, open it up, and pay him for him. Said, let's get this debt off from us right now. And I said, Daddy, you know how you are. I didn't know that it was wrong. It wasn't going to fit good. I said, Daddy, you go tell him for me. He said, oh, okay, I'll go tell him. He gets out and walks over to Vernon Beckner. Vernon has no idea what he wants. He said, David's sitting there in the truck. He's wanting to talk to you. You talk about handling it, you know.
He knew exactly how to handle it.
By the time Vernon got there, I done had tears in my eyes. And he said, well, David, what do you want? And I said, I stole 3 of your goldfish, and I'm going to pay you for them. And Mr. Beckner walked back over to my daddy, and he said, how them kids, we don't care if I'm getting them out. So they take them some home with them. Said, we got so many of them. Daddy said, no, now let's get on the right track here. He said, I'm not up here about these kids. That's mine, and I've got to raise him right. Now, I want you to go back and tell him how much you charge pedestrians that come down through here. Just charge him right, and then see how many he got. He'll tell you, and pay you, and tell you he's sorry. He said, I believe we can take care of this right now. Wait till he gets older. And he walked back, and I was crying at that time. And he said, how many fish you get, David? I said, 3. And he said, I said, how much so? He said, well, we get 2 cents a piece for him. It'll be 6 cents. And I was just shaking. I got my bank over, paid him, and told him I was sorry. And I didn't have to go through that no more. That tickled me, though. I think about that. He said, Vernon Davis, that's right. He knew how to handle it.
He knew exactly what to do, didn't he? I love it.
He handled things in church like that, too. You know, he was deacon, and I told this before, but it's still funny. I'm not making fun of the guy the way he talked. He didn't talk too plain, but he's up there preaching. He come from Georgia, I believe, and he said, I'll tell you right now, folks, I feel a bad period in this church. He said, I just feel a bad period here tonight. Daddy sat there and he said it again, feel a bad period here. And that's about the third time Daddy was deacon. He stood up and said, I guess you do feel it. You brought it with you. You know, he always had answers for everything that I ever thought of. He just always, and he could explain it so good to you. And, of course, I want to be with him every day because he'd wait, let me haul wood with him at night. I'd get up in the morning, if I could get sick at my stomach, throw up a little bit where I get to out of school. So I'm going to see what's going on. Daddy probably, he cared, but he didn't want to bother me, you know. And so she said, Claude, you're going to have to do something with that kid. Now, he don't want to go to school. He went there and cut a horse look like you're going to fishing pole. And he stuck it down that truck. He hit the cab and down the floorboard. He said, David, come on now, we got to go to school. And I got in there and looked at that screen. I was still real young, you know, but look, I was probably second, third grade. It looked like a horse whip. I never said a word. He said, now, honey, see back in. A lot of people drove their kids to school because we had walks for them up there. He said, now, I'm going to come back at recess and check on you, make sure you're not sick. And I didn't know I was okay after I got over. And I saw that switch, I healed it. It took care of all that.
It took care of all the problem right then, didn't it?
Yeah. But it was just something else. Well, Howard, tell us one. What you got on mind this morning?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Well, I guess that took care of that.
There you go. We're done.
But yeah, I've been down that road. I'd took a little pack of those kids' candy one time. My dad done about the same as yours. He didn't beat me or nothing like that, but he took me back and said, you tell man what you done. I told him. I said, I'm going to tell you, I think it was a penny for that little pack. And Dad said, you got to pay him for it and apologize. And I said, well, I am sorry. I said, I didn't know I was doing wrong. I said, but my dad explained to me that was wrong because when you get something, you pay for it. Well, I'm like you. I never did get no more kids.
You didn't even like kids, did you?
No. But, yeah, that's a lesson learned. You just...
Yeah, older people, of course, seem like, well, we didn't have as much as you got now, computers and iPhones and much business. And the parents, they could sit and talk.
Yeah.
They didn't, I never heard my daddy ever say a cuss word or a dirty word. And well, he really walked, give a good example to all of us kids and done it. But Faye is telling about her and Elma, my two sisters, they were just a little over a year apart, see. And they got off the school bus and they started playing to some other kids way up there next to the highway. And of course, Daddy had to come go find out what is at. It was late. He was up there playing, had the little dresses on, and he got a big old switch. And Faye said he'd give Elma a lick, and then he'd give her a lick. I watched him all the way home. She said not enough to hurt him, but he'd tickle him. And Ezra crying. She said, I'll never forget it. I got a lick, now I got a lick. I got a lick, now I got And there was a beer joint built. Clinton Highway is just a beer joint, that's all it was. Mm-hmm. And there was one right next to, it's close to our line there, right above Ciderville.
Yeah.
It's between that supermarket and there, and they built it over the creek. So I still got some of the rock, brick that they had it up on stilts. And what they done, it was on dirt on the highway side, and the rest of it built out in the creek. It's on stilts, and they had a bridge that went off, and they'd run up in them woods over there, right up behind your papaw. Mm-hmm. And you go up there, and there'd be coats hanging on trees and beer bottles, and some of them was full. And they had all kinds of stuff they'd go up there and drink because back then they had fee grabbing laws. I mean, they got a fee for taking you in, and they'd holler, here comes the law, and they'd all run out that back door and run up there in them woods, see, they couldn't find them. And those kids would go up there and find all that stuff, coats, and sometimes they'd have money in them, and we had a big thing going up there in the woods. We could find all that, but I remember when that thing burnt down, I was a kid, and I thought, sure, boy, it lit the world. See, we ain't had no such thing as street lights and lights, and there was the only house up there.
Yeah.
What thing lit the world up? I said, oh, it's going to catch our house on fire. No, it ain't going to catch your house on fire. Too, but it's a sight of things that used to be up in there, and see the sky built during the war. He went around through the fields and gathered rock and built rock houses for people. They just ran anything.
Yeah.
Anything had a roof on it, floor, or it had a roof over it. They would sleep in. Then you were making that big money, and there wasn't no place to rent.
Yeah.
It was building, I forget how many apartments a day down at Oak Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
I read that book, and it said that you might go to school and come back, and there'd be 3 or 4 houses right next to yours. You wouldn't know which one you lived in. It was going up. I believe it was the #1 place in Tennessee.
It was at one point. We had 88,000 people down there. It was, it was.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't even on the map yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they were building apartments and houses and them flat tops. They come in on trucks. They could put maybe 10 a day up, or 15, maybe 50 a day. I mean, it was back laying them down, and I'd go out there. This guy was building them houses now out of rocks. He'd take in field rocks. And he's had other people get them for him, and he'd take mud, and that made the inside wall and the outside wall, and put a concrete floor in it, 2 rooms. He's had a kitchen and a sleeping room, and he had a slew of them out through there. Mm-hmm. Right on that creek bank was 2 or 3 right there, because one of my friends used to live in them. He had 3 kids, and they lived in that thing with the kitchen, and they all had to sleep. Had beds just bunks.
Yeah.
They'd sleep in where they could sleep.
Yeah.
What something he must have had your papa bought his house from, so this before he built that, and there was 2 right there, 2 room and 3 room they built out of wood. He must have had about 15 houses out through there. But them little rock houses, I never thought about that till I saw it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of ideas off that old guy, that Andy Moore, that done that. But he kept everything. What he would do, he had a bucket of bent nails. Somebody gave him a bucket of rusty bent nails. And he'd sit there and talk to you all day and straighten them things. He had a block. He'd talk to you about this and that, and he didn't sit there and just talk to you. I mean, he was straightening them nails. He'd redrive them.
Yeah.
And he kept every little thing rocks and cow chips with the cows that, out in the pasture field. And he had a tractor and a little float, flatbed trailer, I guess you call it. And you go around, he'd walk through that field. Maybe you won't get there and walk around with him and look at the cattle. You take a pitchfork and you'd pile him up because it's dry. And then he'd take that cart and go up there and load it up and put him on his garden. He had the biggest tomatoes. Everything he had, it grew.
Yeah.
He had a big garden right in his backyard. And you talk about growing stuff. This man was, he was real smart, and he used every little thing, every little. He built on the side of the mountains or anything. It's like a beer joint. He built it, put the foundation was out in the creek, and it was just posts made out of 4 bricks.
Yeah.
He held that thing up.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of ideas off from him. My brother-in-law said, give David 2 or 3 nails and a board, and he'll build you a house right quick. Maybe been around Andy Moore too long. I been at the dry cleaner. Me and Scott put in something, and his wife said, "You're gonna get sued. That Andy Moore's got the patent on that." He said, "Y'all are building like him now." But, he could build out nothing on anything. But that's the first time I ever saw rock houses.
Yeah.
See, you just come up so high each day with that mud.
Yeah.
Maybe you start 3 of them, and you had the inside wall was rock, the outside wall was rock, and them people at Oak Ridge, Lord, he made a killing of money.
Well, yeah, stayed busy.
He opened it. First thing was opened up there was a hardware store, Moore's Hardware, and he had his nails and everything wholesale, and I got one of the boards off of it.
Wow.
And after they started tearing part of it down, you could see his shingle up there, Moore's Hardware. It's painted on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Jim Beck and him lived down under that store, you could look down through the cracks to see the water. I mean, Faves take me in there to play with the kids,
Yeah.
Well, people live, some of them lived pretty rough back then.
We freeze to death they and what they had to live.
Oh, Lord, yes. Yeah.
I got a log house over I bought from John Rice. Nicky, that guy worked for him, come over and put it up for me. Him and Donald fixed roof stuff. But back in those days, they had a loft, and all you done in your house was eat and sleep.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning and eat breakfast, and you're gone. You wasn't in the house.
Yep.
You were just cutting wood, cutting log, and you come in at night, the fireplace, warm up, get in big old beds.
Yeah.
A house was just built one big old room.
Yeah.
And so you eat. You had beds everywhere, and then most of them had a loft.
Mm-hmm.
You could sleep. It kind of reminded me of when I first started playing music for a living. Alan Humphreys, my here at Clinton, he worked with us, played guitar for us. And 4 of us riding the back seat of a Pontiac. Now you're from here to Ohio or somewhere. 4 of us in the back, 3 in the front, pulling the U-Haul trailer for their gear. And I remember Alan, they asked us one night, we was riding, and they said, "Alan, how's y'all making him back there?" He said, "I'm going to tell you right now, we ain't even got room enough to change our minds." It's about as bad as cats walking the dogs.
Yeah.
But we had some good times. People just don't realize. I've been at places, we'd be up north and play, and we didn't, the first night or two till we made a little money, we just on the wing and the priors over out there. and we had to get a room with 2 beds, and 3 had to sleep on one, 4 on the other, and then we would take our clothes off, we'd sleep crossways.
Yeah.
I slept a lot of times crossways, but I slept about every which way playing music. Standing up in the back seats of cars and just go in, sit down, and in the back of the dressing room and sleep.
Yeah.
And I swore out. I remember Steve, my nephew, said that Max said, it's Christmas Eve, said David West will get a good night's rest now. Quick as he comes to the party, he'll right back and go to sleep. That's about it. And I used to just love her. Work on the bus, we had that limo.
Yeah.
Or getting that back. If I was going to go out on a trip, see, next day, or to be gone several days, and I'd work all night. And getting there, the first thing I'd do, take me a nap, see, getting back. It's a lot different life it is now. Everything now is you're going down the road with your house. You feel like you're better modern than you are at home.
Yeah.
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 You tell us a story, Mike. Ain't you got something you need to tell?
I don't think so.
Tell me a little bit about your daddy.
I think I made confession last night.
Oh.
Tell me about your daddy. Your daddy was a good musician.
Yeah, he was. He lived. He never went big time or nothing, but he enjoyed what he did do. You know, he lived to play. He never played for a living. He might have, before I was ever thought of, he might have played, made some music, but most of what about all I ever remember is in church. But he played steel guitar with a choir for a lot of years when I was a kid, and then him and Mom sung church for years around Delaware. But
you come from a musical family. Your grandma, she's piano player.
Played piano. Dad said Papa used to thump on an old banjo to him, his right thumb, and
he was some guy.
I never did see him with nothing, but of course, Dad had 2 sisters, and both of them played piano.
Yeah.
He
was Papa. Your Papa he was one of the greatest people. Kids just loved to be around him because he's cut up with them. And he was a fox hunter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He loved hunting fox.
Yeah, I remember going up on the ridge one night. He took me up there. I don't know, there's 2 or 3, 4 others up there and sit and listen to the dogs run. But
they could tell you which dog, what mountain is on.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that old?
It's red, or that's a spot, or
spot, or blue, or
But he was my idol when I was a kid. Of course, he died when I was 13-year-old.
Boy, I thought the world of him. And he traded knives all the time.
Traded cars too.
Cars and knives. Sometimes he traded 2 or 3 times a month.
Dad said Mama never looked for the car. She just looked to see who was driving it when it come in the driveway.
He just loved to trade cars. He traded about every 2 or 3 weeks, didn't he?
Yeah. Your dad said sometimes he trade twice a week.
Yeah.
Didn't have no money. I don't know how he traded, but
I went there before and he'd have a Cadillac sitting there. Next time he'd have a
Chevrolet
or Ford or something. And he had good sayings, I was at there and I said, Mr. West, how you doing? He said, well, I've been sick. I went to the doctor Monday. Said, I walk in, told the guy, doctor, I'm sick, check me out. And he said, what's wrong with you? He said, treating to come over here to find out.
Yeah.
He'd put that question to you, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And I remember one car trade, I said, boy, you had another car 3 days before. Yeah, that thing I got wasn't no count. I took it back over at that car lot. I said, listen, feller, you trade with me on Friday. Here it is Monday. He said, I'm going to tell you, I went to church over the weekend, and I prayed for you all weekend. And now I want a car that runs, because I don't feel like I did over the weekend. He had some funniest stories he could tell you about. He worked for Hubert.
Yep. Yeah, Dad said, I don't remember where he worked at, but Dad said he He retired from Hubert, and Hubert worked on the docks. And the same dock that Papa retired out on is the same dock Dad worked spotting trailers at the same place. It's a different name when he retired out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were something. They had them 48s, 47, 48 internationals. They had, you remember, don't you, heard?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, they had a load of them, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they come up that hill, so we was hauling. Me and my daddy, I was a young lad, we was hauling slabs and strips and sawing them up, selling people firewood.
Yeah.
Kindling, and I'd be up there where Lambert's is now.
Mm-hmm.
That was my uncle's sawmill. And I'd be up there, and here they'd come up that mountain in Bulldog, or the lowest gear they had.
Yeah.
And they'd have the door open, stand on the running board. Stand out on the running board. They'd have that thing pushed down, the throttle pulled plumb out. That truck come all the way through there in first gear.
Yeah.
And they'd stand on the old 48s out on the running board, and occasionally this old boy would jump off, run a few steps, and jump back on it, run a few steps.
Yeah.
It was a sight to see how they did then.
Well, the reason for that is if that thing quit or missed a lick, it went back down the hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you just had to get off of it because you'd get killed, you know.
Oh, yeah.
With all that lumber stuff, and you'd be burned under it. So,
Oh, yeah, 'cause and see, I drove in old trucks hauling rock and stuff when you'd be driving and mash a brake and come back push your leg.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what caused it. Was that air or something?
It was just what you call
Hydraulic well.
hydraulic over our,
Vacuum over
Got
hydraulic.
hot then or something. Brake fluid.
it just, I reckon, I don't know.
Man, I drove in. I was coming up the river road yesterday, and I showed her carrying her where I said, now, right here's where I come out, the big load of rock, septic tank rock. And I got down there, it's either straight on hit the lake or turn right. You got to turn somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I come down through there and hit the brake, and that thing come back at me, and I couldn't stop. I started gearing down a little bit, but I couldn't make it. And I got right there at the edge of the road, and here come cars, and I just turned and went up the side of the road with them. I got around that side.
Yeah.
They was in the highway. They pulled over and let me go up through there.
Yeah.
And when they got out of the way, I pulled over on the highway and started gearing down there until I could stop. But I was coming off of, I drove a school bus, a pretty good while, but I was coming off of Zion over going to Claxton from high school. And I hit that brake and it pushed me back up. And I said, I sure ain't gonna do no turn then.
Yeah.
I started trying to gear down. I went plumb on down there below Weigels, where it's real wide.
Mm-hmm.
I got it geared down. And the kids was hollering, you're passing the school, you're passing the school. I said, I'm giving you a little extra ride today. Now sit down and behave yourself. And I drove there and turned around, come back where I could gear it down.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what, I watched every little thing when I went. Everywhere I went, I watched how everybody did everything. And I heard knows this, them old two-piece wheels on them dump trucks and stuff. Boy, them things are hard to change.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
And see, I used to just beat my brains out on them. I get it, bam, bam, bam. You don't do it that way. You hit them one lick.
Yeah.
And I was over at Johnson Tar. This black guy, Buddy, he could change them. He was a king. They put him out there on. And I had them two-piece rims. And look, he walked around. He got his hammer, big old hammer. He just walked around it a couple of times, just as cool as a cucumber. And all of a sudden, he come back and he said, wham! One lick, and that thing pop off like that. And what it was, he was getting his adrenaline and everything just right. I started doing that too. Well, when I walked around, I didn't want to beat on it. I just walked around just as cool as I could be, and I got where I could get one lick on too. But it was an art that they had to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I walked around, but boy, they could do it. Yeah. And everywhere I went, people just fascinated me what they could do, how they could do stuff. Now, there's some things I couldn't do. I never did get the hang of it, it's that way, but there's people swallowing them swords and stuff. I mean, This guy come in and told Max, he lived in Portland, and he said, I could swallow a sword. Max said, good. And he walked there and got a coat hanger and took it out and said, swallow this. And he put that coat hanger down about that far. Swallowed that coat hanger. Pulled it back out so you don't ever bet on nobody's trick. You know, he wasn't bleeding nothing.
Yeah.
He just swallowed that coat hanger and pulled it out. I told you I could. I'll tell you something funny, too. And if you had talent, I put you on stage. If you didn't have talent, I still put you on. If you brought a crowd.
Yeah.
And I walked out there at the WYSH, well, a show was going on. This boy said, I don't know who it was. I never saw him after that, but he said, I can do anything. He said, put me on stage tonight. And I said, well, what can you do? He said, back in we had a gravel parking lot. He said, I could stand on my head on them gravels right there. I said, let's see you do it. And sure enough, he stood on his head, took his arm and everything, stood on his head on them gravels. I said, okay, I'm putting you on. I got me a bucket and he got some gravels. Back in we had inlay on the stage floor and them carpet. I said, we got some talent here tonight. I said, this fella said that I want you to watch him. I'm going to pour a bucket of gravel out right here on the floor. And he can stand on his head. And sure enough, buddy stood on his head, and they give him a big hand. I mean, it was something to see.
Yeah.
Another guy with a big old guy had on work clothes. Not work clothes, but his uniform.
Yeah.
His work uniform. He said, why don't you put me on? Said, I can table dance. We had them little 2-foot tables, one on each side, because Lord Claxton or somebody had them go-go girls, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get them up sometimes and dance and do little short dresses and then twirl. If you had any talent, I'd put you on. If you didn't have none, I'd still put you on. But
Worked better if you did.
this old boy got up there and got dancing. I fell off right there and fell. Till you get through his routine. I mean, another guy come in, he said, I'm a black belt karate. He said, I can bust concrete block my hand. I said, I got him. I said, now, intermission, we're going to have something different. I'm going to put this fella right there in some 8-inch blocks, and he's going to bust them with his hand, and he sure done it. Wham, he hit that block, and that thing went smack all in pieces. And I know it wasn't his block, because I went out and got my vac.
Yeah.
But he sure, it's a sight what people can do.
I think Randy Carter's husband could do that.
Oh, he could do it, yeah.
Sure could.
He could do it. I've had him in there done it.
Yeah.
I had him in there do it, show people. Well, he's a black belt karate and everything else. He's nice and real quiet. You wouldn't think that about him, but he sure can do it. But it's a sight what people can do with the talent they got. And of course, me and Fred get out and get playing music. And anybody could do anything, we'd put them on, you know. The worse it was, the better we liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
We couldn't sing a lick, get them up there. Mr. Walker, if you couldn't sing, the best thing to do is tell him you traded at Midtown or somebody at the store. I'm from Midtown, and who do you trade with? Oh, I'm Cat Walker. Oh, well, now, we're glad to have him with us this morning. And when he did, we'd get him up there and get him do something, and then he'd be up there. Where you trade? Midtown? You live in Midtown? Well, I coon hunt a lot down there in order to get a conversation started. Yeah. And then, but if you want to get by with him, just get him to trade with him. And he'd get him up there. Well, it's just, I told you about this one girl, she come up there and she couldn't play a lick or sing a lick, but she just barely mumbled. And she wrote a song about Melissa Gibson that got hurt or dead or something down that way. And it was a big thing on the newspaper and radio. And she called it Mitzi. And she got up there, and me and Dan and Little Red was going to play for her. And she just barely opened her mouth. She said, Mitzi, 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 I want water, you know. And we played a little. Next morning she come in and said, my mama said, you always playing too loud for my singing. And I said, okay. And I told the boys, I said, yeah, just make motions. Don't hit no strings. Just make motions. And so we didn't hit no strings. We just made motions, and she sung. And I said, how was that? She said, now that was better. I thought we were really good at that. I thought you were going to say a little louder than that. You said, that was a lot better.
Yeah.
We never hit no strings yet. Oh, man, we used to have some of the best fun times on TV. Honey Wiles, you know, his chili different. We was talking. I was over at the courthouse yesterday and talked to Paul Parrott. He listens to us, Parrott boys. I listened to us over the courthouse, and he was talking about some thing that happened, you know, on some of them trips. I mean, you just can't believe it. Some things that it's just fun, you know. See a lot of it, but anyhow, Howard used to travel some with him, so he had a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
L.E. was a barrel of fun, but he's real quiet, you know. He didn't have much to say.
Yeah, I know that time I was out for Archie, and they'd done a show up there opening the big thing up in Orangeburg, Kentucky. And Archie had borrowed a brand new Volkswagen bus. Of course, he told him, said, now, if this does what I want it to, he said, I'll buy it. And so we was coming back, and it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning up there in Kentucky, and them roads, no, anyway, not topped over a hill. There's 2 big black cattle right in the middle of the road. Well, I just stomped the brakes on that thing. I couldn't get it stopped, and I knocked one of them down. It caved in front of that bus, and Archie looked there, and of course, that is my word. What happened? I said, well, I just knocked over a cow. He said, well, get this thing going. I said, I ain't gonna let it go forward. 3 o'clock in the morning. So I stuck my foot and kicked in front of that bus everywhere I could mash the clutch and brake back down. He smoked that white pipe. When I hit them, he just bit the whole end of his pipe off. He just rolled the window down on him. Spit piece of it, I just rolled the window back up.
Didn't say nothing, did he?
He said, Archie, he said, what are you going to tell them people? You get back down there about that big dent. Archie said, what dent? Because there's cow mess all over that bus.
Fred said, Red Rector and Fred and Archie was going somewhere. I don't know, he was going somewhere to play a show, and said, Archie's real hot on hee-haw. Said they was going down the road, and Archie's telling, well, they play games, you know. Well, here come where that town got its name at, and then do like that. And all of a sudden, the cool Cadillac quit, limo. Luton's out of gas. Fred said, well, somebody's going to go get some gas, because he's wanting Red and Fred to go get it. Fred said, you know, I think I'll just hang with the car. You all can go. Fred said all the way up through there, Archie saying dirty words, you know. What's wrong with that lady thing? He don't want to do nothing. He landed back there and said, this old boy had chewed it back and had the tow truck. Came 5-gallon gas and said, Archie got in and he said, I know you from somewhere, buddy. And he said, no, you don't know me. Yeah, I do. I know you from somewhere. He said, I just can't place where. I said, I'll find out, Drake. He said, come to me. There's old Will Funds, that guy keep looking for Archie, and he look over, and Archie didn't like. He was irritable, you know. He didn't want nobody to know him. He didn't want to know nothing. He wanted to get some gas to get out of there. And said, just as they got down there, said, Fred said, did you get you some gas, Arch? That boy said, Archie came up with me. Oh, I know who you are. Archie said, you kissed Archie's contract. You know, he said, I know you. You're from me always. He said, Archie came.
It took me after about, it's 2 or 3 months after that. I was sitting out there. Barber shop with L.E. sitting there talking to him, and Archie come in and said, L.E. said, don't you go with me up to Bristol. So I've got a show booked up there. I said, I want you to go with me. And Ellie said, well, okay. And he looked around and he said, well, Megan, you can go too, you just can't drive. You have to have a new station right now.
More cattle, baby.
Yeah, Megan, you can go with it, you just can't drive.
He was something terrible. Arch was flatty, I tell you. He said, Fred said they was going up the road, and Speedy was that old guy that was so slow, you know, he had a real talk, slow motion, and he played dobro or steel, wasn't it? But dobro and steel.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And said that he worked for Bonnie and Buster some, and he worked for Archie some, just whoever needed him. And Fred said, me and Archie was in the front seat, and Speedy, they called him Speedy Christ. Speedy was in the back seat, and they was leaving Knoxville, and said, Archie said, Speedy, I want to tell you something. Quit doing that old Knoxville girl. Said, it's depressing, it's too long. I don't do that no more on stage. And he said, we got all the way to Morristown, and Speedy said, I'm going to quit that, Arch. Arch said, what are you talking about? And he said, that Knoxville girl. He waited all that long to say anything about it. Yeah. That Knoxville girl. And Edwin told me Speedy was working with Bonnie and Buster way back before my time, and said that they went in this big restaurant and they'd eat, but they didn't bring bread. And said, we all just went ahead and ate. And said, Speedy wouldn't eat that. Said he couldn't eat that bread, you know, and said he's sitting there just looking at his meal. Tiffy was telling me this, steel player said, all of a sudden, Speedy stood, after about 20 minutes, he stood straight up in that big restaurant. He said, where's that bread? I can't eat with that bread. Hardly that. Sit back down. and see, there's always putting you up to something mean. Mischief.
Yeah.
Mischief, not to hurt nobody, but I remember when I first went to Bonnie and Buster, way back there, Foggy Mountain Breakdown was a big hit. Bonnie and Clyde, that was a big thing when I first went to work Bonnie and Buster. And so the guy that done the fiddling on it, Benny Sims, he was a fiddle player on the original record on the movie. Mm-hmm. So I had never met him, and Bon Lou said, when we get somewhere in Virginia or someplace, said, we're going to meet the guy that did that fiddle on that with Flat Scruggs. And he said, you get to meet him, because that's going to be the featured number. First number on that show was about Foggy Mountain Breakdown, because Benny Sims is the guy that did it, and he'll be wanting to do it, because, you know, that's the hottest thing out right now. Well, Edwin Taylor told me, he said, I'm going to tell you something about him before you get up there, David. He don't want to play it like a record. He wants to fly on it. And, of course, I was young. Fingers up down like a drill. And he said, they introduced a big introduction. Here he is, Benny Sims, the fellow that did the movie, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, said, don't get the banjo picker, kick it off if you will, and we'll play it for you like we did. When he did, I hit, I hit it flat. He couldn't feel it. And I said, I just met him. I just met him when I walked in the studio, but he didn't ride with us or nothing. And we got through, he said, it's so soft. He said, if you don't care, the next thing we do, I don't do it like the record. I said, they just one told me that you wanted to fight all this over this life. And I told them all, and me and him become good friends. And I say, hey, you want today like the record? He came to the barn and did him and Curly Sector and him done a big show down at the barn with Chet and all of them one time. But me and him were big buddies after that. But they put you up to doing bad things, you know, get you in trouble. Yeah. And they got Wimley and Stoney. Wimley and Stoney got the drummer. And I know his name when he was down there. What was his name? He started producing them records. Oh, you know, the one that got in trouble with the IRS and showed her everything he owned and everything.
Oh, Eddie Pleasant.
Eddie Pleasant, yeah, Eddie Pleasant, yeah. And he got it. He said he had a trunk full of money. A trunk full of money for, he was a manager over Hank Jr.
Yeah.
Hank Jr. Because I had to go up there and stay with them. I mean, they counted money and bundled all day long at the Coliseum. And I went up there with them. That's when they bought me. Hank and had to make me a jacket. It says Hank Williams. Mm-hmm. And L.E. was over sales. And Eddie was over all the money. And he put it in bundles. He put all the heads one way, and it just bundles of money. They had big boxes they took that stuff up in, and they was making everybody coats and that. But he said Eddie had this trunk full of money, and Hank Jr. said, "Bring me some money." Dan yours stood. I bet he didn't care what Eddie took and that because he was making so much money. He said he just thought to wear Eddie. So Eddie goes down through there, and he gets about to use the bathroom, and he run in the bathroom, and they closed the service station while he was in there. He come and he's beating on there wasn't nobody there. And he's beating on the door, and somebody saw him, thought he broke in, called the law to come get him out. And he told him what happened. Of course, they got the manager and everybody, and they believed him. And he said, "Man, if they'd opened that trunk, they took him to jail. They thought he was a big drug dealer." Yeah. Said Eddie was always getting into trouble with him, so they got him on the Grand Ole Opry. He was playing drums for Will and Stoney, and L.E. told him that, he said, "Now, when they do their big hit song, it's a big wheel." He said, "You're going to have to do a drum roll in that." He's trying to show him how to do it. He got him nervous, and him on Opry now said, "Do it," and he got nervous and his sticks jumped out of his hand and hit the floor. And L.E. said he was trying to pick his sticks up one hand and beating on his drum with that thing. I get the rhythm going. And said that Stoney Cooper, he was really cool, said he told him, Eddie said, "What happened tonight?" Said, "You seem to be having some trouble with your drumsticks." And, he was real cool about everything. "What happened?" Said, "You was having some trouble with your sticks." Said, "Do you need some new sticks?" Oh, he said, he was, but what happened, they tried to get me to go work for him. I was a bottle buster, and I didn't leave. But L.E. called me from Nashville, said, "Won't you come there and go to work for Wimley and Stoney Cooper?" And I said, "Well, I'm up here, and I can do my business better because they work out stuff with me, and TV's up here, and I like where I'm at pretty good." But he said they got up north, and he said anything that he done, he stroked his hair. Had that real pretty hair. And when Stoney Cooper did, he was really went first class in fancy shoes. And said whatever he done, said his daughter married a guy on the Opry, and they got into a big argument at backstage at the Opry, and said that the boy's daddy was there, and they was arguing, and Wimley and Stoney, they got Stoney, got into it with with the daddy-in-law, Said they got real bad. Said Stoney, he was a big old guy. He was real tall, real big. Said he stroked his hair a couple of licks. He caught that little guy, his daddy, that boy's daddy was little, until he caught him and slammed him up against the wall. Right to backstage office, said he was letting him have it, fixing to work him over. And said, that guy said, "Now just a minute, Stoney, just a minute." Said, "Perhaps I was a bit too hasty about this." Perhaps I was a little too hasty about this. And said, Stoney let him down and said, stroked his hair on both sides. And L.E. said that. And the guitar picker was Joe Edwards. He's real good. He was a staff picker on Opry. He said we was in a bus and said not Stoney, but Joe Edwards took a lot of pills. He had pills, keep him awake, pills, make him sleep, pills for everything, and said he had them in a pouch thing, and he drove a bus all the time. Said he had them up there, he just push a button and it'd drop out. and he get pills. So he took pills all the time, and said he'd overdosed some, took too many that day, and he said they got in town. And said that when they got in town, he said, I noticed he's driving kind of wild, and said, first thing he done, said, before they got in town, so he run over and knocked down about 4 mailboxes on the side of the road. And said, Stoney got up and said, what's going on here? Said, he's hitting the side of the bus, round, round. He said, I believe I got a little too close to the edge there, Stoney, and said this went on. They didn't do nothing about that. Said he got in town and there's cars parked, and he tore up about 6 cars. He got right in them and said, he said, oh, shoot, I can't get out of these cars now. He said, just go on through. And he tore about 8 or 10 cars, bumpers and stuff on them, and he said, well, I guess I better stop. And this cop of law said, I think Nashville, okay. Said, I better stop and call the law. And said, Ellie said, now, you know how you are, Joe. Joe Edwards said, when that law comes up, said, you just pull that little window back and smile and show him your teeth and tell him who you are. You're a big old star from the Grand Ole Opry, staff guitar picker. And said, you got put the charm on him. And he said, he stopped. And said, he's just sitting there, and he's getting all ready for the big things that cop pulled it. He pulled the window back. I'm Joe Edwards from the Grand Ole Opry, and I got Wimble and Stoney Cooper and all this. Said, guys, this right. And he said, get out. Took them everyone in jail. He said, he took us all to jail, everybody in the bus. And said, we had to call Nashville, Acuff and Rose. And said, Acuff and Rose said, we'll take care of it. So they're members of Grand Ole Opry. Said, just let them out. And said, we vouched for it. And said, we got insurance. They got insurance to take care of all them cars for it. But he said, George Joe stuck in big teeth. Hey, I'm Joe Edwards from the Grand. He said, I didn't pay no attention. He said, I knew he wouldn't, but he did some stuff that he would.
Yeah.
Oh, some of the stories they tell, it's just fun. We used to get together and start telling stories about what happened to us.
Joe Eddie, RS is after him. And so they sent this real pretty woman down there, just acting like she was just interested in what he had, so he took her down there to one of his barns and stuff and showed her out and said, taught her about this and that. This horse is yours, this certain brand and all this, and she said, well, Mr. Blessed, that is nice. And I ain't never seen nothing like that. Oh, said, you hadn't seen nothing yet. He took her down to another barn there, big $100 saddles, horses, everything, because she was kept right.
Yes, ladies from the IRS.
IRS, boy, they damned him.
Well,
said he told us, said, I can't believe this.
They made so much money. That's when Hank was in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
He was hot, buddy. And me and Luke was sitting there in Ellie's house, and Ellie, he borrowed money. His wife, she run through all kind of money, and she borrowed $72,000 on the house. Had it mortgaged, and Ellie couldn't even make the payments. And he told Eddie was just, he just run. He had all that Hank Williams money. I mean, he just run through it with what he wanted, bought everything. They said Hank Jr. didn't care he had so much money, and I was sitting there, me and Luke, he said, see that TV right there? And I said, yeah. He said, Eddie just run in there one day and said, here, pay this house off, and I'm in a hurry, and threw $72,000 on top of that TV in cash and took off. Said, we paid the house off again. Said, throw $72,000 right on top of the TV. He said, he just had it in a box, and he just laid it all out there. Just throwed that there and said $72,000. And he said they had boxes of it. Hank Jr. would sell him T-shirts and stuff. They keep that cash on. Said they had a trunk. They carried a trunk, one of Hank's cars.
Mm-hmm.
And Hank called him and told him how much he needed, and he just brought it to him.
Then he said, what to do? Eddie, of course, Hank didn't care like that. He was making some other on that coats and T-shirts and hats and stuff. And Eddie would buy 10,000 shirts for Hank Jr. and buy him 10,000.
Yeah.
And he'd sell,
Hank didn't care.
he'd sell Junior one, it's like cat every time he sell Hank's Junior one, he'd sell one of his. So he had a bunch of.
I remember in the 70s when Hank Jr. got $75,000 to play Knoxville Coliseum. That's back in the 70s when it was a lot of money. And
A lot of money now.
His sales took in $90,000.
Yeah.
T-shirts and stuff. I was back there when they counted it. Because Lola Jean called me and said, David, woke me up on Sunday morning and said, Hank Jr.'s going to be playing at the Coliseum tonight at 7 o'clock. Said, he's got to step there all day and he wants you to come stay with him, hang out with him, and help him do a few little things. I said, okay, so I went up and stayed all day with him. And then they were bringing that money in there. They done sell that way before he went on stage.
Oh, yeah.
He went on stage and back in, he was wild kind of in. He went out there and took his shirt off. And, he played 2 or 3 instruments, and he was far out, Hank Jr. was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at me and Luke. Wasn't been you, was it? Was you with me?
No.
You wasn't with me, was it?
No.
Somebody was with me, like Luke or somebody, and we was standing there in the hall. We couldn't stay out front. It was so loud you had to put cotton in yours. I mean, I took a headache. Karen had to get me something for a headache. I like busted my head. I wouldn't go out front.
Yeah.
I stayed backstage, and then I did want to see him a little bit, and so I walked out there to the side of the stage. I could barely put cotton in my ears and take it there. I mean, it was so loud. I don't know how nobody stood it. And I kept feeling something hit on me, and I thought it was somebody spilling coke or something. Look, there's blood that's fighting up over top of me. I said, get not the blood, get out of here. Look up. We looked up front, there's up there fighting. Of course, you couldn't see you couldn't hear nothing the way that noise it is making. And he had his shirt off, and he's really doing one of them rock band deals. But see, I remember opening for Hank Jr. Me and Red and Fred used to open Coliseums for everybody.
Yeah.
But we opened for Hank Jr. and he had Louis Johnson with him, I believe, and then he had Jeannie Seeley. Of course, Jeannie Seeley worked with everybody in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Jack Green, and she had some good stuff herself.
Oh, yeah.
She had that torch. Your hand is like a torch each time you touch me.
Yeah.
Well, Con used to sing it good. I used to love to hear him sing that song. Well, he sang it. Of course, his whole family. See, Con's family was all musically inclined, and they married musicians. Con's daddy was a musician. His mama, of course, she's a brewer. And going to church with this, they got one of Con's cousins, probably about the third, I guess, were coming on down.
Yeah.
And they named his first name Brewer. Little Brewer. It's the first thing they named him was Brewer. Because, I mean, if they're a cousin, they'll be singing or picking.
Yeah.
I don't care how many generations down, but 4 generations that still play music.
Well, one of them kids girls, Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda and Jeannie. And she's told me, said, you always be around when we have one of them family reunions. She said, you talking about some music now. Because the whole
they do. I played them.
Sang and played. And
I've been around them.
Yeah.
Owen played fiddle and Jim played guitar, and David Farmer knows this because he remembers what happened, but they came here to pick for a church at their Old Hammers. There used to be a dollar store up there. Before that dollar store in the 50s, there was a field, and they put a big tent in there. And Jim Brewer and them, and Olin and Dennis and Jim and Johnny played bass back in the banjo picker. And they come in there and played every night for that. Oh, they had crowds all out outside the street and tent. And that's when they got mad for something as preaching and cut the tent down. And they took it the next day and they sewed it up. Must have had 27 patches on it. They sewed it. I mean, they laid it on the benches. They sewed it up. The next night, they had it open air. There wasn't nothing there. And the next night, they had it sewed back up. Because I went about every night. The police and everybody there to hear them. I mean, them boys could sing. They was every bit, if not better than Osborne brothers. The difference in them and Osborne's, they had more showmanship. Oh, they put on a show like they could do it. See, all brothers singing together. It's tough, but
it is a big family harmony. I don't care where you go.
Oh, they
just
best.
can't beat it.
Well, I guess it's back winding up time here. Let's get out here.
I'm enjoying it, listening to the stories, fella.
Well, Con's wanting to call me, so I got to get out here.
You better go take care of him.
We've had a good time picking, singing, and picking on this station all these years. I mean, I started this as my first radio station, Kathy Hill. And I started with Jim Fagan and David Farmer. David had the band. And Jim Fagan had the show, and Kathy Hill just started with them. I come over and did my first show. I got my first picking tune was Cripple Creek on the radio, and this is the first radio.
Standing in the studio with David Farmer.
That studio was so little. I remember we had to step up,
back into it,
and back up in the door. Boy, it's a little place over there.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean,
been in it one time.
You took it when it was up here, didn't you?
Yeah, it did. It came up here in I think mid-60s. I think they moved up here. I know they built the second floor in 72, 73. So it was up here a little earlier.
You took it what? 70?
I bought it in 90.
90. I remember working for ET a lot here. ET
yeah. ET was here in the 80s.
We did the fair. He had the Red Man.
Yep.
Portion because I brought national stars in.
Oh yeah.
I had John Free. I had Ava Barber from Artswell. I had Ellie and Lola and Michael White. And after Hammers, I had Skip Ewing.
Skip Ewing, yeah.
I had a lot of Lisa Rue.
Yeah.
Marshall Andy.
Star-studded.
Oh, Marshall, boy, we done a lot of shows together. Me and him and Luke was Tennessee 3.
He was a hoot.
If you could think back of all the people I've worked with, Bell's Brothers, Carl Story, I've got a lot of that stuff in scrapbook pictures of us. With a lot. I got one that real nice one of me and Joe Dippy, and he had to prop me up against the jukebox.
Yeah. That's one we did. Merle did out there with Jimmy. Yeah.
Y'all did it.
Yeah. We did that.
Yeah. I got a picture at my desk, and I saw it. Barney said, "I'm the one who took that picture for you," and I've got on a sweater that Zane gave me, Zane Daniels. I was going through some clothes yesterday trying to find this shirt, and I found 3 or 4 of them nice shirts, and some of them got leather on them that Zane had given me. Many of them were the same size.
Wow.
Large. And one solid orange, 1 or 2 solid orange, or he probably wore them UT. And his shoes, and I got his coat in the car now.
Yeah.
His coat's in my back of my car. I wear it a lot. I got another coat in the house. I remember one time we was playing a show where Kenny Chesney was with us, and we went back in there, and Kenny did too, and see what he had. Of course, Kenny couldn't wear none, but he had this coat. He said, "Luke, I wore this coat one time. I was in New York, and it turned off cold, so I had to have a coat. The big top coat, boy, pretty thing." He said, "I thought it'd be maybe $899. I got it burned. It's $30-something $100. He said, "I'm ashamed to take it back. I need a coat," so I just gave him a credit card and took it. And said, "Luke, I only wore it that one time up there, that one place." He said, "I'm gonna give it to you." And Luke tried it on, it just fit, and he said, "I'll tell you right now, I'll play for clothes."
Yeah.
Hey, like the new, I've been listening to that new commercial, but it's
good.
Cash Walker sound just like him.
Sounds just like him. It does.
I wouldn't know the difference, would you?
I didn't know the difference. Wouldn't know unless you told me.
Mr. Walker said one about, I done one of his commercials. Now, is that me or is that you? I could write his name just like him. It passed the bank.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote his name on a stamper, and it passed everything. Even where he's in the nursing home, he said how'd you get him still enough to do that? And I said, he had to have it. I said, it'd take him long. He's fast. I took it there and handed it to him.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly passed the bank.
That's great.
But it's just like him. If you look at it, I studied him, I could sound just like him. That commercial, if anybody hears it, I changed the name to Cash Walker.
Yeah.
Instead of Kaz. In case somebody said something. But, you see, Kaz wasn't his name either.
Nope.
Orton Caswell.
Yes, sir.
Walker. And I still heard something coming over here. One time I put my phone number in the, you can't tell nobody you got it unless your phone number, you know. So I took, way back, I said, I was so busy, I didn't want everybody to call me, you know, just to chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I walked in, I said, I don't have a telephone for my home line, private line. I want David Earl. David Earl West, my name, see. And she said, what's your name? I said, David West. But on this phone to say David Earl put me on the E's. And she said, we can't do that. And I said, you can't do it? Well, no, we can have your name. I said, I have one that says Soderville, and that ain't my name. That girl's face got red. She got thinking about it. She said, well, I guess that's right, ain't it? She said, I wish I'd have thought of this. But anyhow, we're glad to see all of you and glad to be here. I like the saying that my daddy liked so good that this old lady had. Everybody knows what to do with the bad thing, but the one that's got it.
You.
My daddy would always say, if you started telling him something, you know, people, I'll tell you right now, if I had kids, what I'd do. Daddy would say, do you have kids? No. Call me back after you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this guy called me up one day and he said, well, I had COVID bad. When it first come out, I took it. I think you could open them old, they would tell you to keep those boxes 14 days before you open them up from China. I've opened them guitar cases up, take that plastic off, and you couldn't stand the odor. Mm-hmm. And I took COVID right then and lost 20 pounds. I just like died. And we had finally had closed the store. They paid us, the government or state paid us to close down. But, I mean, I had it bad the first time. Second time, they done a transfusion, knocked me out 15 minutes. But they didn't have that first time, or they did. I didn't get it. And this guy called me up to tell me all about COVID. I said, boy, I tell you right now, I said, I take zinc, and he told me what all he was doing for it. I said, have you ever had COVID? And he said, no. I said, well, what don't you do? Let's don't talk about COVID. I want you to wait after you've had it and then call me up and we'll talk about it. I said, we'll both understand it better. But it wasn't too long ago, after that, he took it. He called me up, boy, it'd like to kill me. I said, we can talk about it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So Daddy would say, don't tell me what you're going to do with the problem. Tell me what you did with it when you had it.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. We'll close on that till we get to see you next week.
There we go. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor. Or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.